First of all, happy Mother's Day to all the moms and grandmoms and anyone who has ever had anything to do with raising our children. So it's a good day. It's sunny at the moment, sort of. And we wish you all a good day. First of all, I would like to welcome everyone who is here. I see that the numbers are growing piece by piece, so that's a good thing. And everyone is welcome, and we hope you have a wonderful day. I would like to highlight just a few announcements. First of all, I would like to say that the flowers today are from the Gettys, and we are very, very happy to see the lilies today. Last week it was roses. So General Honorine, thank you very much for providing the flowers today. A little business. On Tuesday, there will be an event from 7 to 9 p.m. from the UU organization, UU The Vote. Music, message, and inspiration. The event is called How We Thrive, and if you Google that, you will have a chance to participate. A couple of other announcements. While we're saying thank you for beautiful things, thank you for our beautiful grounds. That's to Ann Bobinick and Sally and Killian, who have been weeding weekly, and also to the members of our mowing team. So thank you for making it look good, making it look like we're open. It's a good thing. And we are open. We're open at any time, and you can email or call Reverend Doug or me and or anyone on the board. And you can also call your fellow congregants just to check on them and say hi. So we are all here. Couple of other announcements. Sunday, June 7th, we're going to do it. We are going to have a virtual congregational meeting. It will take place after our service on Sunday, June 7th. It will not be very long. There will be a short financial update, and we do have an important issue to vote on, which I'll say more about. And this is to allow for absentee or proxy voting for all future congregational meetings. It's an important bylaw change. We do need to vote on it, and everyone is encouraged to attend. Now, if you don't know anything about this, next Sunday, the 17th, instead of our hospitality after the service, Suzanne Bjorner will make a presentation about the options that we have come up with to make this absentee voting workable for us, whether virtually or in person. So we will have a presentation on that. This is an opportunity for you to add to the discussion. And so we hope that you will come after the service next Sunday and listen to the presentation. There's a very good chance we will repeat it the following Sunday so that everyone who wants to participate in the discussion will have that opportunity. After that, that presentation or those presentations, the board will decide on the wording for the bylaw change, and everything will be communicated prior to the June 7th congregational meeting. So stand by. We have a whole team working to make this work by way of Zoom in a legal and orderly fashion. So hang in there. This week we're getting new locks on the church, and there will be a front entry keypad. News will be coming since no one is going in right now, or very few are. We thought this was a good time to get this done. The Valley Interfaith continues every Tuesday from 9 to 11 to accept gifts of food and money. So stop by there. You don't need to go in. Someone will come to your car, or you can leave things by the side of the building. There are staff there to pick them up and take them in. There's tremendous need in our communities right now, so take advantage of that. Let's see. And the other thing is, you know, we've been doing kind of okay as far as pledges for 2020 go. And we would like to thank those of you who are stepping up, sending checks, making sure that your pledges are being met for GNH. This is new territory for everybody, or old territory if you want to look at that writing check stuff. And so just thank you. Thank you for being here on Sundays. Thank you for participating in this way. Last is Doug sends out a long list of announcements every Sunday or every Thursday. Please read them. There's a lot of information in there. And just as there will always be, there will also be a lot of information in the Harbinger every 2 weeks. So please take time to read those and stay up to date with what we are doing. So at this time, I would ask everyone to put themselves on mute. And Reverend Doug will light the chalice for us. And we shall begin our time of worship.
Rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and joy. Rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and joy.
Thank you, Doug, very much. Michael, at this time, will play a prelude for us. It's a time for us to prepare our hearts and our minds for what we will hear and experience during this morning's service.
Shade on sweet Georgia Brown. 2 left feet and also neat is sweet Georgia Brown. They all sigh and want to die for sweet Georgia Brown. I'll tell you just why. You know I don't lie. Well, not that much. It's been said she knocks them dead when she lays down. She came by, why it's a shame how she cools them down. Fellers, she can't get, must be feathers, she ain't meant. Georgia named her, Georgia claimed her, sweet Georgia Brown. Said she knocks him dead when she leaves town. She can't, why it's a shame, but she can cool them down. Oh, fellas, she can't get
Thank you, Michael. Now's an opportunity to listen as we sing For All That Is Our Life. It happens to be hymn number 128. If you have a hymnal handy, the lyrics will be on the screen. After that, we will recite together our unison affirmation.
For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad. For needs which others serve, for services we give, for work and its rewards, for hours of rest and love, we come with praise and thanks for all that is our life. For sorrow we must bear, for failures, pain and loss, for each new thing we learn, for fearful hours that pass, we come with praise and thanks and all that is our life. For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad.
Okay, let us recite together our unison affirmation. I'll see if I can get it up on the screen. Michael? We seek to create a welcoming community that celebrates human diversity, encourages spiritual growth, fosters responsiveness to our world, and commits to the future of children. Thank you, everyone. And now is our opportunity to hear Doug's thoughts on Some Like It Hot.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
As it is every Sunday since we've been doing online services, I love seeing the faces, all of your faces pop up on my screen. And it's, once again, appreciate your attendance here and thank you. This month of May, if you don't know it, we're doing Let's Watch the Same Movie Together. And last week we considered the movie A Serious Man. It appears on Netflix. And today we're looking at the film Some Like It Hot, which I hope you were able to see this past week. And next Sunday, we'll be considering the film. It's a documentary. It was nominated for an Academy Award in 2016. It uses the voice of the poet James Baldwin. And the title of the film is I Am Not Your Negro. It can be found on Amazon Prime if you're a member of Prime, and that's then for free. Or if you're not a member of Amazon Prime, you can rent it, streaming rent on Amazon for, I think it's $3.99. So anyway, let me begin with today's message. The finale to the film Some Like It Hot, I think was, and it still is, classic. It sums up themes from the story. It's hilariously funny, and its message is far ahead of its time. If you recall the scene, Jerry, who's played by Jack Lemmon, He's dressed as his female alter ego, Daphne, and she's sitting next to her millionaire fiancé, Osgood, who's played by the great actor Joe E. Brown. They're in a motorboat headed to his yacht on which they'll get married. And with increasing frustration, Daphne says to Osgood, "We can't get married at all." And Osgood replies, "Why not?" And Daphne, "Well, in the first place, I'm not a natural blonde." Osgood, "Doesn't matter." Daphne, "But I smoke all the time." Osgood, "I don't care." Daphne, "Well, I have a terrible past. For 3 years now, I've been living with a saxophone player." And Osgood, "I forgive you." Daphne, "I can never have children." Osgood, "We can adopt some." And then Daphne, as she pulls off her wig, says, "But you don't understand, Osgood. I'm a man." And then Osgood replies with one of the best final movie lines ever, "Nobody's perfect." And the film then ends with the implied statement, something I often say, that love is love is love. It doesn't matter to Osgood that Daphne is not naturally blonde, that she's not virginal, a non-smoker, able to have children, or even a woman. He's in love, and that's all that's important. And much like Osgood fell in love with Jerry, I've fallen in love with this film as a comedy, but also as one with an important message. It speaks to me on many levels. It's very funny, it's wonderfully written, and the acting is first-rate. Jack Lemmon fearlessly embraces the role of a guy playing a woman, who in the process forgets he's a man. Lemmon was nominated for an Academy Award as Best Actor that year in 1959, narrowly losing to the macho Charlton Heston for his acting in the movie Ben-Hur. And many critics say Marilyn Rowe did the best acting work of her career in the film Some Like It Hot. Even though she'd been depressed during its shooting because of a recent miscarriage, she convincingly made her character a sweet and innocent girl next door type, even as the character was also an unabashed seductress. In her character's persona, Monroe exemplifies the film's essence. The film has a funny, sexy, and uplifting story with a peak message for people to be more open-minded and adaptable about their gender, sex, relationships, and life itself. The Some Like It Hot was recently included in the Criterion collection of what are considered timeless movie classics. And the American Film Institute ranks it as the #1 movie comedy of all time, and number 22 amongst all films. Such accolades speak to its writing and its acting and its comedic but important theme. And as history has shown, I think most of us know, men dressing as women are the stuff of great amusement and even high art, as long as the cross-dressing is depicted sympathetically and with a message for men to accept their more feminine and sensitive sides. I believe the film is a cultural landmark in highlighting the dawning awareness of fluidity in people and in circumstances and in life. And despite that, Billy Wilder, who's the film's producer and director, and I.A.L. Diamond, who's the film's writer, they didn't set out to tell a groundbreaking story about human fluidity and sexuality and attitudes. Mostly, they wanted to produce a feel-good comedy. But their modern sensibilities resulted in a story that was and still is groundbreaking. 1959, if you recall that year, is the year I was born. 1959 was at the edge of a new era, and Some Like It Hot pointed the way. In only a year, JFK was elected as what many commentators say was America's first modern president. He and his wife Jackie were cultural trendsetters with their affinity for new styles in dress, design, and the arts. And also within a year, the first oral contraceptive, the so-called pill, was approved by the FDA. And it's credited or blamed with beginning the modern sexual revolution. The 1960s then became synonymous with the hippie generation and their free love, smoking pot, and rejection of traditional values. And only a decade after Wilder's film, the Stonewall riots in New York City initiated the gay rights movement, which led directly to greater understanding of same-sex attractions and eventual legalization of same-sex marriage. Now, added to when Some Like It Hot premiered is the year in which its story is set, 1929. And that too was a year on the edge of revolutionary cultural and societal change. And there's a hilarious bit of dialogue in the film which highlights just how culturally pivotal 1929 was. Jack Lemmon's character, Jerry, is concerned about how long he and Joe, played by Tony Curtis, would have to keep up their persona as women in a new job in an all-female band. What are you worried about? This job is going to last a long time, Joe or Tony Curtis says to Jerry. Jerry boy, why do you have to paint everything so black? Suppose you got hit by a truck. Suppose the stock market crashes. Suppose Mary Pickford divorces Douglas Fairbanks. Suppose the Dodgers leave Brooklyn, end quote. Now for 1959 audiences, many of whom were alive in 1929, that's a funny but true statement. All of those unexpected events happened, which underlines Joe's admonition to be more of a free spirit and embrace life as it is right now, because we never know what could happen just around the corner. And that idea is especially meaningful for all of us who perhaps just this last Christmas or January would never have foretold the momentous recent turn in our lives and in that of the world. And what that means for me is what I alluded to earlier. Some Like It Hot implicitly encourages adaptability and open minds in order to more fully embrace the joys that life gives us right now. That theme is embodied in Marilyn Monroe's character, who, as a sweet and innocent 25-year-old girl, nevertheless embraces her love of hot jazz, drinking alcohol, her sexually appealing body, and engaging in premarital romance. Indeed, even though Joe becomes the kind of sensitive man that Sugar, Marilyn Monroe, says she wants, it is Sugar who becomes the aggressive pursuer of the sexually shy junior, who is Joe's made-up persona as an heir to the Shell oil fortune. Monroe's blend of innocence and sexuality is highlighted in more great dialogue in the movie. Junior says to her that he never knew passionate kissing could be so great. Where did you learn to kiss like that? He asks Sugar. And she replies with perfect Midwestern innocence. I used to sell kisses for the Milk Charity Fund, end quote. Now for a woman in 1959 to be the semi-initiator of romance and sex, that was revolutionary. But Monroe in the film pulled it off because the scene was sexy without being vulgar. And that highlights the purity and the naughtiness, perhaps in us all. As the film implies, everyone is fluid in this way. And of course, the spotlight of the film's encouragement of human fluidity and open-mindedness is focused on Joe and Jerry in their transition into Josephine and Daphne. Men have throughout history dressed in female attire, both for entertainment purposes and for the allure of perhaps expressing some inner femininity. And just as the characters play the transformation in the film, so too did the actors experience the same in real life. In an interview shortly before his death in 2001, Jack Lemmon said that he had decided to fully embrace being feminine for the role of Daphne, without any fear of appearing, as he said, quote unquote, faggy. That transformation is quite clear as Jack, the actor, and Daphne, the character he plays, exuberantly pretend to be a woman and eventually think like a woman. And Tony Curtis, on the other hand, had to be reassured about acting as Josephine. When he first donned female attire for a rehearsal, Jack Lemmon said Tony had to literally be pulled out of the dressing room. And that reluctance on Curtis's part is reflected in his role as Joe and Josephine. His only reason for continuing to act as a woman was to gain the trust of Sugar, to whom Joe is attracted. As soon as he can return to being a man in the persona of Junior, he is very eager to do so. Jerry, however, Jack Lemmon, enjoys being Daphne and the object of affection by her suitor Osgood. Indeed, several recent commentators have said that Jerry, becoming Daphne, was the first transgender character depicted in film or on TV. That wholehearted embrace of being a woman was both a part of the character and a crucial part of Jack Lemmon's acting. It's one reason, I think, why he was nominated for and nearly won the Best Academy Award, Best Actor Academy Award. His portrayal of Daphne was both funny, touching, and quite revolutionary. And that dichotomy between Tony and Jack, Joe and Daphne, is fully exposed and celebrated in the hilarious dialogue between the two when Daphne announces she's engaged to Osgood. Jerry says to Joe, "Have I got things to tell you?" And Joe asks, "What happened?" Jerry, "I'm engaged." Joe, "Congratulations. Who's the lucky girl?" Jerry, "I am." Joe, "What?" Jerry, "Osgood proposed to me. We're planning a June wedding." Joe says, "What are you talking about? You can't marry Osgood." Jerry, "Why? Do you think he's too old for me?" Joe, "Jerry, you can't be serious." Jerry replies, "Why not? He keeps marrying girls all the time." Joe, "But you're not a girl. You're a guy. And why would a guy want to marry a guy?" Jerry, "For security. Look, I know there's a problem." Joe says, "I'll say there is." Jerry, "His mother. We need her approval. But I'm not worried because I don't smoke." Joe, "Jerry, there's another problem. Like, what are you going to do on your honeymoon?" Jerry says, "We've been discussing that. He wants to go to the Riviera, but I'm leaning towards Niagara Falls." Joe, "Jerry, listen to me. There are laws, conventions. It's just not been done." Now, for me, the exchange between the two men is brilliantly funny, but also slyly subversive. It wraps comedic dialogue around something unheard of in 1959, all in a way that allows audiences to laugh instead of react with horror. Even so, the underlying implication of the dialogue is clear. Jerry has bought into the idea of being Daphne to the extent that he has no clue why Joe is so upset. He's apparently fallen in love with Osgood, so what's the problem? And that's subversive, I think, in a good way. As the film released on the edge of momentous cultural change, Some Like It Hot helped lay the groundwork for America's acceptance of sexual liberation, of feminism, of gay and lesbian rights, and most recently, of transgender rights. In that way, it advanced what today's commentators say was an assault on heteronormative traditions, those that are perhaps mostly held by white heterosexual men. Such traditions held that only men and women can marry. Men must at all times be macho and dominant. Women must be innocent, pure, maternal, and docile. And that life should be lived only within very narrow conventions of alleged morality. Today, sociologists have proposed a name for attacks on heteronormative ideals. It's called queer theory, which supports human differences in contrast to behaviors that have wrongly been considered quote unquote normal. Queer theory addresses issues ranging from race to homosexuality to gender roles and to gender identity. It holds that men need no longer be exclusively masculine. Men can be macho, but they can also be sensitive and vulnerable. Women need no longer be docile and maternal. They can be assertive and strong too. Even more, both men and women should be free to identify, not just with their birth biology, but with the fluid side of themselves that can occasionally identify with the opposite gender. This queer theory even extends intersectionally outward to include racial identities and roles. I think Black should be the new white in terms of people of color regaining attitudes of assertiveness, power, and full equality. And in many ways, white should be the new Black in terms of greater recognition by white straight men, for instance, that they are no longer a force of dominance. All of this is advanced by queer theory, which holds that people need not become their total opposite, but that they should celebrate a blending within themselves of many differences. And the film Some Like It Hot, as I said earlier, was never explicitly intended to explore such ideas that were not even thought of in 1959. But Billy Wilder saw that such fluid forces were beginning to be expressed in the culture, and he then used them for comic effect. Indeed, the character Joe, played by Tony Curtis, starts off as an arrogant and misogynist male stereotype. But even he undergoes a blending transformation. Joe becomes a better man by becoming a woman. In a nutshell, I think that's the primary message of the movie. We become better people when we embrace the side of ourselves we believe we dare not show. The parts of us that are not supposedly normal or heteronormative. And for me, that's an ultimate expression of empathy. It's only by walking in another's high-heeled shoes, for instance, that we better understand others and ourselves. I've often said that most things in life are never black or white, good or bad, up or down. Life operates in a middle so-called gray zone, where there's a blending of two extremes. And many people judge others based on two extremes, instead of understanding and empathizing with human fluidity and the goodness that offers us all. The title, Some Like It Hot, refers to dialogue where Joe talks to Sugar about the music of her all-female band. Joe says he likes classical music. Sugar, however, unabashedly says she likes it hot, which was and still is a common reference to upbeat jazz music. And for me, there's too much coldness and hate in the world. I think life should be hot, a joyous blend of sexy and innocent, fun and serious, male and female, black and white, gay and straight. After all, nobody's perfect. And I wish you all much peace and joy. And I thank you for listening. Now, as we did last week, and as we do occasionally, I want to open it up, the so-called floor here, for your thoughts or comments about the film, about my topic today, or about my message. And if you want to just quote unquote indicate you're interested in making a comment, use the chat feature to say you want to be called on, and then Michael will unmute your microphone, and I believe he will, or I will, call on you. So as I said, I welcome comments about the film, my topic, or my message. I'm not able to see all the, oh, Jack Brennan, he would like to comment. Jack?
Hi, Doug, can you hear me?
I can.
I got to tell you, Valerie and I started watching the movie yesterday, and we didn't get to the end of it. I don't know, we didn't pick up on all these themes and whatever that you have postulated, and it's a really good message from you today. I see things that I didn't see before in that, so I have a new perspective on the significance of the film, and maybe we'll go back and watch the end now. And I just want to add in for everybody that heard me last week during the comments about my book and my friend. It all turned out well. He just needed a little time to get used to the idea. So that's come out well, and thank you to everybody for your support last week.
Thank you, Jack, and you know everybody in the congregation loves and supports you. Andrea has raised her hand. She would like to make a comment.
Yeah, I thought the ending scene was just whatever that actor's name is. You said that played, had the hat on, the real millionaire. His face never changed, and he was just happy as can be. Every objection that came up, and then I liked how you connected it to the love is love with the UU tradition, and it does make me wonder what was going on with Gene Wilder in his brain, to come up with that screenplay, or what was going on in his world.
Yes.
Because I don't think it was. I don't think it's an anomaly. I think there was. I think he was definitely exploring things he saw.
Mm.
Of course, he had the gift of comedy, so he could use that. But I wasn't very old at the time either, but we weren't aware of those currents. But art people are always, I think, in touch with, I guess what you might call the fringes, but different, who other people would not associate with. Probably they're much more accepting. So
yeah,
that's my comment.
Thank you, Andrea. Sue Klein, you have a thought, comment?
I do have a couple of thoughts, as always. First of all, I'd forgotten how good those old movies are. And without benefit of screen manipulation and animation and all the modern tech gadgets, there was some real great filmmaking in there. And I need to go back and pick up on some of those. Secondly, I had never watched the movie, probably because I was 10 in 1959 and wouldn't have been permitted to. but I thoroughly enjoyed it as a comedy, and your message really helps me see how much meaning can be contained in comedies. They very often, not always, but they very often go beyond plain old entertainment, and I really appreciated the message you brought to it. So thank you.
Any other thoughts or comments? Well, I'll turn it back over to you, Sue, but thank you, Andrea and Sue and Jack, for your thoughts.
I did want to notice that Robert Malkin was waving at you, Doug, so
Oh, I'm
perhaps
sorry,
you would
would
like to say
Robert like
something.
to speak? I didn't see, I can't see everybody. Robert, please comment.
Okay, yeah, Doug, I wanted to say that I thought your discussion of the movie was really right on and very thought-provoking. Because the issues of fluidity between men and women need to be addressed, because there is definitely a female side in all of us. I go to a psychic who says that my female side is very well developed. Doesn't mean you're gay, he says, but it does mean you're very understanding of the female side and what they're saying to you. It is interesting. I think everyone has that. And I want to thank you, Doug, for this. The movie, I thought, when I first looked at it, was rather dumb. It was a poorly dated 1950s comedy. But with your discussion of it, Doug, it made a big difference. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert.
Okay, I think I'm back. Am I back? Yes.
Anybody else raising their hand that I've missed?
I don't see anyone, but I don't see
I
everybody
don't see
either.
anybody either, yes.
Okay.
Turn it back to you.
Okay, now is the opportunity for us to share our wealth with our community. And just as a side note, there are a whole lot of hoops to jump through to get onto some online giving. It's not like a consumer signing up for PayPal, so we're still working on it. But you, our community, have been generous and helpful and accommodating to our situation, and we thank you. Now is an opportunity for us to continue to be so, as Michael shares the really cool song, This Is Me. And please take this opportunity to get out your checkbook and send us a check this week. Thank you.
my skin. Fly away, 'cause today I won't let the shame sink in. We're bursting through the barricades and reaching for the sun. We are warriors, yeah, that's what we've become. I won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us. We are glorious. When the sharpest words wanna cut me down, I'm gonna set a flood, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen. I make no apologies. This is me. Oh, oh, this is me. And I know that I deserve your love. There is nothing I'm not worthy of. When the sharpest words wanna cut me down, gonna set a flood, gonna drown them out. This is brave, this is true, this is who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen. I make no apologies. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be free. I'll make no apologies. This is me.
Thank you once again, Michael. Your music choices are spot on, as the Brits would say. Thank you. Now is the time for us to share joys and sorrows, as we've done in the past. Please use your little chat screen to describe briefly what it is that is on your heart, on your mind. I will read those, so for those folks who cannot see what's going on, and you can be assured of our support. Well, while everyone is furiously typing, I will add that my daughter's been through a rough patch recently, and things are starting to level out, and I am very grateful for that. This is from Koa. Koa says, first of all, he's here, and I'm happy to see him. Secondly, he says, I just want to say how happy I am, period. That's the best news I've heard from you in a while. Great to have you here. From Suzanne Bjorner, it is a great joy to hear from Jack that time and love has helped his friend. Indeed it is. It looks like that will be it. I think we all know that everyone in our community is having a hard time. We support them. We support you. Do not hesitate as individuals to reach out to your members of your community, to your friends, to your pastor, for anything that you might need during this time. And now let us hand this back to Michael. We will sing silently and together one more step.
One more step, we will take one more step till there is peace for us, and everyone will take one more step. One more word, we will say one more word till every word is heard by everyone. We'll say one more word, one more prayer. We will say one more prayer till every prayer is shared by everyone. We'll say one more prayer, one more song. We will sing one more song till every song is sung by everyone. We'll sing one more song.
Being here today, it is, oops, there we go. Thank you everyone for being here today. It is so good to see everyone's faces. It is good to know that those who cannot be seen can be heard. So we are very grateful for that. I had picked out some chosen words or some closing words by Rumi, but I'm going to change that to something from the song that Michael chose for us. This is me. There is nothing that I am not worthy of. Good message from the movie, good message from the song. Please think about all those in our community and outside our community who need our love and our empathy and attentiveness. And that concludes our service. If you would like to hang around and be thrown randomly into a small group so that you can catch up individually with people, please grab a cup of coffee and come back and rejoin us.
SSDs or not, no, Canon has no hard drive at all. And the SSD has another advantage, solid state, no moving parts.
I think it is Reverend Doug that needs to do the deed.
Ah,
Ah.
Yeah, I can't do it, Doug, sorry.
Hi, puppy.
Hey, Michael.
Jack, how's it going?
All right. You know what, though? I don't think you ever sent me a picture of that skull thing.
I was just about to do it. I just remembered when you popped up there.
Hi, Sue
Ah,
and Suzanne.
hi, Jack. Yes. Michael,
Hi.
again, love the offertory song, Michael. It was fantastic today.
Thank you.
And who else is over here? Sue? Yes, hi.
Oh,
Really neat.
Maybe you can see me a little better. My eyes are about covered. I haven't had a haircut, but
If you had a haircut, I really would like to know how you did it.
that's right. That's right. No, I joined in late and didn't get to hear the service because the grandkids came to plant flowers for Mother's Day for me.
Oh, well,
So
that's nice. You will be able to go to the website and listen to the service, and it's really worth listening to. I thought
Well-
that the message was wonderful today.
Yeah, I thought
Okay.
it was too.